All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Ooh, exciting.
Today's topic is something I think we've all thought about at one time or another.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Is heartbreak really necessary?
Hmm.
You know, like it's painful, it's messy.
It's the worst?
But does it actually serve a purpose?
Interesting question.
We've got a ton of research here.
Oh, awesome.
From psychology, neuroscience, even some evolutionary biology.
Oh, wow. Covering all the bases.
To really try to get to the bottom of this.
I'm ready to dive in.
So first things first.
Yeah.
Heartbreak isn't just some abstract feeling.
Definitely not.
It's a full body experience with some serious consequences,
That's for sure. It can really impact you, like physically and mentally.
Oh, tell me about it.
You know?
I remember this one breakup.
Oh, no.
I swear I had an ache in my chest.
Really?
It was brutal. Like waking up and there's no good morning text.
Ugh, the worst.
Just awful.
And you know what's crazy? Experts actually recognize this.
Really?
As a real ailment impacting both your heart and body.
So it's not just all in my head.
Nope. It can even lead to depression.
Wow, that's intense.
It is, which is why it's so important to, acknowledge those feelings and validate them.
Okay, so wait a minute.
Yeah.
Feeling awful is healthy in this case.
To a point, yeah. It's like the first step towards actually healing is acknowledging the pain.
Okay.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, I love interesting.
There's a theory that heartbreak actually serves an evolutionary purpose.
What, really?
Yeah, like a built-in mechanism to make us choose our partners carefully.
So like nature's way of saying, hey, be careful who you give your heart to.
Exactly.
Wow.
And get this, there's research to back this up.
Okay, I'm listening.
A study from Stanford found that heartbreak activates the same brain regions as physical pain.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So you're telling me my brain basically thinks a breakup is a physical injury?
Pretty much, like a signal to learn and grow from the experience.
That seems, I don't know, a little dramatic, don't you think?
Maybe.
To compare it to a broken leg or something?
Dramatic, maybe, but also super effective.
Okay, how so?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
If heartbreak didn't hurt so badly, we might not put in the effort to, find better partners or build those stronger relationships.
Okay, I'm starting to see the logic here.
All right.
But I gotta ask.
Shoot.
How does this all play out in our brains?
Well, picture this.
Okay.
Heartbreak affects all sorts of brain regions.
Like what?
The ones related to pain, reward, even how we regulate emotions.
Oh, wow.
And make decisions.
Interesting.
Remember that article we read about dopamine levels?
Yeah, vaguely.
Well, heartbreak messes with those big time.
So it's like going through withdrawal.
Exactly, like you're suddenly cut off from your feel-good drug.
No wonder we feel so messed up after a breakup.
Right. And it's not just the reward system.
What else?
Our emotional control centers get thrown out of whack, too. Scientists have studied this using the, what was it called?
The NBAC task.
Yeah, that's it.
It tests your working memory, right?
You got it.
So what did they find?
Basically, people going through heartbreak, they had way more activity in the emotional parts of their brains.
Oh, that makes sense.
But here's the kicker. Their ability to think clearly actually went down.
So that's why I can never focus after a breakup.
Precisely. Your brain is basically on high alert for emotional threats.
But it can't focus on anything else.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about the infamous 5 stages of grief.
Oh, you mean denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance?
The whole emotional roller coaster.
Tell me about it.
It applies to heartbreak just as much as any other loss,
Yeah, I think I got stuck in the anger stage for way too long after my last breakup.
It happens. But remember, not everyone goes through those stages in order.
Oh, really?
Nope. You might jump back and forth, linger in one longer than others.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better, actually.
Good. There's no right or wrong way to grieve.
So if everyone goes through this, is there a way to, train ourselves to handle it better?
That's a great question. And honestly, maybe.
Okay, I like maybe.
Think about it like physical pain.
Okay.
The more we experience it,
Yeah.
the more our bodies adapt and become less sensitive.
So emotional calluses.
Something like that. Some research suggests that with experience and building up that emotional resilience, the intensity of heartbreak might actually lessen over time.
So the more breakups you go through, the tougher your heart gets.
It's not quite that simple, but there's definitely evidence pointing to a kind of emotional immunity.
Okay, interesting.
Of course, everyone experiences heartbreak differently, so there's no guarantee it'll ever be completely painless.
Yeah, that's fair. So even if we get tougher, heartbreak's still going to be a rough ride. But what happens when it just sticks around for too long?
That's a great question. That's when it can become a real problem.
Oh, no. How so?
Prolonged heartbreak can lead to, like, some pretty serious mental health issues.
Oh, wow. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
Think depression, anxiety, you name it.
That's intense.
It is, and those can really spiral and start affecting your everyday life.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Even your physical health.
Oh, wow.
There was this report in the Harvard Medical Journal about people who were suffering from, like, persistent heartbreak.
Oh, no.
And it led to all sorts of problems.
Like what?
Isolation, trouble at work.
Oh, man, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's not good. So we're not just talking about feeling sad for a bit, you know?
This is serious stuff.
Exactly. It can have some long-term consequences.
So what can you do if you're dealing with that kind of prolonged heartbreak?
Well, first and foremost, don't bottle it up.
Okay, good advice.
Reaching out for support is so important.
Makes sense.
Whether it's from friends, family, or even a professional.
Right, your support system.
Exactly. Talking about it can make a world of difference.
Okay, so leaning on your people is key.
For sure. But there are also things you can do on your own to, like, actively manage and overcome the heartbreak.
Oh, like what?
Self-care is huge.
In what way?
It's about taking care of yourself, you know?
Okay.
Both physically and mentally.
So like eating well.
Yeah, and sleeping enough, exercising, doing things that make you happy.
Okay.
And it's super important to let yourself grieve.
Yeah.
Don't try to force yourself to just get over it too quickly.
I've definitely tried that fake it till you make it thing.
Yeah. How'd it go?
It's exhausting.
It's not sustainable, you know?
Nope.
And there are other more specific strategies you can try.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, like reframing the breakup
Okay.
as a matter of incompatibility rather than like a personal failure.
Interesting.
Remember that article we talked about boundaries?
Vaguely.
It talked a lot about focusing on yourself.
Okay, I like that.
Acknowledging your own role in the relationship.
Right.
And moving forward with that self-respect.
So basically taking ownership of your own happiness.
Exactly. Don't let the breakup define you, you know?
I like that.
There's also the classic advice of seeking support from your loved ones, focusing on self-growth, and avoiding contact with your ex, at least for a little while.
Oh, what about all those photos and mementos?
Ooh, good point.
Time for some relationship spring cleaning.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
Exactly. Toss it all out.
Well, maybe don't burn anything irreplaceable.
Good advice.
I just want to give another shout out to Micky from Mickytolife. His channel is a treasure trove of inspiration, and he's a huge Sip&Talk fan.
Absolutely. Make sure to check him out and maybe even share your awesome podcast intro with him once you've created it. Speaking of all this, it actually brings up a really interesting ethical question.
Oh, I love ethical questions. Lay it on me.
What if we could just medicate heartbreak away?
Whoa, that's a big one.
Right.
Like through therapy or even medication.
Exactly. Would that be a good thing?
I don't know.
Or would we be missing out on, like, a valuable learning experience?
That's deep.
It is, right? I mean, heartbreak hurts like crazy.
Tell me about it.
But maybe it shapes us in ways we don't even realize.
You think so?
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
Yeah, I can see that.
Heartbreak can teach us so much about ourselves.
Like what?
What we need in a partner. How to bounce back from tough situations.
Okay.
But is it worth all that suffering?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
And different cultures have wildly different perspectives on this, too.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I remember reading about this Amazonian tribe. They have a ritual for heartbreak.
Oh, wow. What do?
They sing and dance for days.
Really?
It's like they're processing the pain together as a community.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It is. And it shows how cultural norms play a big role in how we view heartbreak.
Yeah, for sure.
Like in some Eastern philosophies, heartbreak isn't even seen as a failure.
It's not.
Nope. It's an opportunity for growth.
Wow.
For accepting that, you know, life is always changing.
So instead of feeling like your world is ending,
Exactly.
you see it as a chance to learn and evolve.
Right. It's a pretty mind-blowing shift in perspective.
It is.
And it makes you wonder, you know, can we find healthier, more constructive ways to approach heartbreak?
Good question.
Both individually and as a society.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground here. The science, the evolutionary stuff, the cultural perspectives.
Pretty much everything.
But what does it all mean for, like, everyday people going through heartbreak?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. So what's the answer?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that heartbreak is a universal experience.
Yeah, for sure.
It's part of being human, you know?
It is.
It's not something to be ashamed of or
Yeah.
try to avoid at all costs.
Exactly.
It has the potential to teach us so much
What kind of stuff?
about ourselves,
Okay.
about our relationships.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like that cheesy saying,
Which one?
sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together.
Yeah, that one.
But maybe there's some truth to it, right?
Maybe so.
It's about seeing heartbreak as an opportunity for growth, for learning, and ultimately for finding a love that's even stronger
I love that.
and more fulfilling.
So for everyone out there who's, going through it right now,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
First and foremost, be kind to yourself.
Okay, good advice.
Let yourself feel the pain,
Yeah.
but don't dwell on it,
Right.
Lean on your support system. Talk to your friends and family,
Okay.
or even a therapist.
Good idea.
And most importantly, do things that make you happy.
I like that.
Reconnect with yourself.
It's like that article we talked about.
Yeah.
About boundaries.
Right.
Allowing yourself to feel all those negative emotions.
Exactly.
Not rushing the process.
Yep.
And trusting that you'll come out stronger on the other side.
Exactly. Healing takes time,
It does.
There's no magic formula.
Unfortunately.
And while there might be ways to, ease the pain a bit, it's important to think about whether those methods are stopping you from growing and learning from the experience.
So it's a balancing act.
Please.
And maybe, just maybe,
Yeah,
coming out on the other side a little wiser.
for sure.
And with a lot more self-love.
Perfectly put.
Yeah.
And before we wrap this up,
Yep.
I think it's worth mentioning that even in the midst of all this pain, there's still so much beauty and joy out there in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Traveling, trying new things.
Yes.
Even just having a good laugh with friends.
The best.
Those are all amazing reminders that life's so much more to experience.
Couldn't agree more. Sometimes a little distraction is all you need
Totally.
to shift your perspective
Right.
and start to heal.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, I think that about covers our deep dive, messy, complicated
But fascinating.
world of heartbreak.
But hopefully our listeners found it insightful.
Yeah, and maybe even a little bit comforting.
I think so, too. It's always helpful to remember that, you're not alone in this.
Especially with something as universal as heartbreak.
For sure.
Absolutely. So to everyone out there nursing a broken heart, remember,
Yeah.
be kind to yourselves,
Always.
seek support,
Yes.
and know that this too shall pass.
It will.
And in the meantime,
Yeah.
go explore the world.
Love it.
Raise a glass to new adventures.
Cheers to that.
Keep those hearts open to all the possibilities.
The possibilities are endless.
They are. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.